and welcome to the Oregon Files podcast. First, our disclaimer, we are novice podcasters simply for entertainment and knowledge. If we misquote or offend, it was not on purpose to do so. Today, we are recording from my once again lovely spare bedroom attic space here off Newton Creek in Roseburg, Oregon. And here is my co-host, Elliot Bowman.
Thank you so much, Mark. It is truly a lovely official fall day today. I think fall started. Last time you guys heard from us, we were taste testing some liqueurs, some whiskeys, some absinthe. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. It was probably as fun as to record, probably to listen to. So I enjoyed Mark and I's spirits while we're tasting spirits. It was a lot of fun.
That's right. No drinking today. We're all business now.
That's right.
Business.
Business. A nice Friday night, all business. I hope everyone had a good week too. You know, it's always nice to wind down the week recording a podcast. And,
right.
It's supposed to be a nice weekend as well here in Douglas County. If you want to get a hold of us, probably the easiest way is on Instagram. Just shoot me a message, OregonFilesPodcast@yahoo.com as well. Check out all the episodes anywhere you get your podcast. We also have a website. You can get a hoodie for the cooler weather, or if you live where it's still warm, there's t-shirts available. It's www.theoregonfilespodcast.com. And I hope you like our hodgepodge potpourri variety episode we have for you today. I think everyone likes a good variety. Everyone likes to go shopping. You get like a variety bag of chips or
Heck yeah.
Chex Mix or...
That's how I shop.
Yeah. It's always fun to see what's in store with just some random... I don't think any of our topics today have anything in common, so it's kind of fun to just throw it all in the hat and see how it turns out.
Right?
Throw it in a mixer. So
yeah.
Anyway, carry on, sir.
Well, shoot. Yeah, I will start us off with, this is something I want to cover for a while, and I'm hoping I don't scare the listeners with this stuff I'm going to talk about, but it needs to be talked about. I'm going to cover earthquakes in the state of Oregon. And there's some serious stuff we got to discuss here. Just today, Elliot, there was an earthquake off the coast again, and I had to tag you about it. I was just like, wait a minute, this is happening way too frequently now.
And I feel like I was just about to say, I feel like it's been happening.
Oh yes,
almost every week.
Yeah,
I feel like it's been happening quite often now.
It's funny because my wife I was like 3 or 4 years ago said we should get earthquake insurance, and I was like, no one gets earthquake insurance in Oregon. And she goes, just go ahead and do it. And I called, and the insurance company even was like, what do you want to do? You're in Oregon? Yes, $5 a month. Big whoop, right?
Yeah.
But here's the creepy part is every year it renewals for a higher amount. It went from $5 4 years ago. Now I'm $35 a month. What I'm going to do, Ellis, I'm going to give you some facts. I'm going to give you some things that have recently come to light. First of all, I'm going to talk about some current dangers. This thing, the first thing I want to cover was from the Washington State Standard. This was published on September 22nd of this year, so 4 days ago, written by Mia M. and Jerry C. And this talks about the existing Interstate 5 bridge over the Columbia River, which connects Washington and Oregon. Lawmakers now anticipate costs to replace the bridge at around $10 billion, and that does not meet modern earthquake standards.
Ooh.
After years of planning and lining up billions of dollars in state and federal funding, it continues to be an educated guess when construction will even start, how much a project will actually end up costing, and what the new bridge will look like when traffic only drives on it. If required, approvals are in hand by 2026. As planners anticipate, cars would soon drive over the bridge in 2032 or 2033, still not earthquake safe.
When you drive over a bridge...
I can't do it.
Do you think about what would happen if the bridge collapsed?
Oh, the bridge collapsed, the great gust of wind. I don't like driving over bridges. So just so you know, they're even though they're fixing bridges that are very important to us, still not, some of them aren't going to be earthquake ready. That was one article. Another article, this was on September 18th of this year, KOIN.com. Transportation leaders have uncovered more details on a project aiming to make Salem's Center Street Bridge earthquake ready. According to the preliminary finance plans, the Oregon Department of Transportation released earlier this week, the first phase of the project is expected to cost up to $200 million. This is for one bridge. Crews will add seismic retrofits to the main span and east ramp, which is slated to begin next summer and end by December 2029. So once again, this is 2025. to retrofit this bridge so it could withstand an earthquake. We're 4 years down the road. Phase 1 could also include an emergency recovery plan in the event that a Cascadia earthquake hits the region within the next several years. ODOT is still determining the cost of the second phase, which will replace the bridge west end ramps, and currently stated to begin with a design study next year. But the ramp replacement isn't expected until 2033 as well, at the earliest. And then construction could last up to 4 years beyond that. So those are I've just covered bridges right now. So basically, don't drive over a bridge in Oregon if there's going to be an earthquake, number one. Number two, let's get where it's a little more at home, right? Yeah. This one now, we're going to do OregonLive.com. This was a great 4-part article by Lizzie Acker. She did 4 parts of this. This was published on September 19th through September 24th. And she talks about schools in Oregon. So do you know a kindergartner spends about 12% of their time in schools that could collapse around them? The case in point is Beverly Clearly K-8 school in Northeast Portland. Out of the 80 schools in the Portland Public Schools, Beverly Clearly would be the highest risk of collapsing during an earthquake. And I'm going to say right there, I did research for what the size of the earthquake would need to be. 6.3 to 7.1 would level these schools.
And right now, or today's was 5.9.
Yes. Okay. So we're getting there. Okay. So can you imagine if you're a kindergartner, you spend 12% of your time in a school that could collapse around you? I mean, at a certain point, the odds aren't great. Now, with old buildings are inherently bad, Oregon's first statewide building code, which included seismic safety provisions, wasn't implemented until 1974. Most schools in the state of Oregon were built between 1920 and 1950. Now, in a 2007 report, Portland Public Schools had 36 of its 91 schools listed as high or very high risk. In 2025, of those high-risk schools, so those 36, 8 of them had no major seismic work done since the report came out. So in 19 years, nothing's happened, and we know of all these schools that could have a lot of damage. So I don't know. It's just scary. In September of this year, Oregon Governor Tina Kotek ordered that all new state buildings larger than 10,000 square feet meet the highest earthquake safety standards, and the older buildings be upgraded to life safety, is what they call it, standards, but by 2060. It is unclear how those upgrades will be funded. This is still from the same news article, by the way. Now, here's where it gets funny. Like I told you, my increase over the years for earthquake insurance has gone up, the scariness, that kind of stuff. Up until a certain point, they didn't think earthquakes were common in Oregon. They weren't a possibility. But scientists are now in wide agreement that there's a 10 to 14% chance a powerful earthquake and tsunami will strike the Oregon coast in the next 50 years.
Okay. That's what I was hoping we were going to talk about. This is I feel like this is one everyone's been waiting for.
Yes. Okay. This was published on OregonLive.com, but here's the scary part. This is written by Lori Tobias back on April 20th, 2009.
Okay.
Okay. So this article is already a little dated.
Yeah.
41 years ago, scientists didn't think the Cascadia subduction zone, a place 50 to 75 miles off Oregon, where 2 of the Earth's plates meet, one sliding in the other, could produce earthquakes. That changed after a guy named Brian Atwater, a renowned geologist with the U.S. Geological Survey, began in the mid-1980s to study earthquakes, eventually tracing a theory all the way to Japan. Atwater studied a ghost forest, dead trees in a tidal marsh, by the Copalis River in Washington, and theorized that a major earthquake had killed the cedars, but he needed more evidence. That came when Japanese researchers published a paper in 1996 about a tsunami that struck Japan on January 27, 1700. Atwater was so intrigued that he learned the language and traveled to Japan. In 2003, he and a team of Japanese researchers published a book, The Orphan Tsunami, about their theory that the last major quake struck the Oregon coast January 26, 1700, spawning the tsunami that washed over Japan hours later. Chris had been able to go back 10,000 years, and by studying offshore landslides, he found that we've had about 20 of these magnitude 9+ subduction zone earthquakes where the whole 600-mile-long fault ruptures. Then he found 18 other quakes, magnitude 8 to 8.5, in the southern part of the subduction zone. So instead of 20 subduction zone earthquakes, we're up to 38. They're thinking that a giant quake, they happen every 3 to 350 years. So, which the last one was 1700, and it's now 2025. We're right in the middle of it. Between 3 to 350 years, the Cascadia subduction zone is due.
With the last 9.0 earthquake hitting the region 324 years ago.
Yeah. We're ready for it. We're due.
Well, I try to imagine myself what would I do in a huge natural disaster situation like that.
Uh-huh.
I would think I would be calm under pressure, but I probably would just be sheer panic, right?
Have you ever been through an earthquake?
No, that's the thing. I wouldn't even really know how to. I guess it depends where I'm at, right?
That's true,
If
right?
I'm at work, probably I don't even know. Because how do you know how large it's going to be in the moment? Do you know what I mean?
That's just it. And there's different ones because sometimes they can roll, they can just shake, like
Right.
they feel different. I've been through a couple because I was born and raised in Los Angeles, and the
Yeah.
Northridge earthquake, that one was pretty good. But yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. You don't know how long. Here's the deal. So I don't go on like buildings above 3 floors.
That's like the magnitude of it. Right. You
Right?
you
Yeah.
really have no idea,
You
right?
don't. Yeah.
So that's probably the most stressful part.
And
you
how long
know,
it lasts too.
right. And if I'm like in the middle of like a work day, there's probably going to be people around me like freaking out and screaming.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I probably would have AirPods in. So I probably wouldn't even realize what's happening in the first place and be like, what is going on?
Oh,
and
yeah.
then feeling like, I don't know.
Well, I actually wrote down what you should do. This is
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
so,
good.
So during an earthquake, you should follow the following safety measures. I did get these off earthquakesafety.gov. So this is
Yeah.
what the government says we should do.
I wonder how often they update that.
Well, maybe after every earthquake to learn something new. That's the
Yeah.
scary part. So so here's the crazy part is the reason that they're so now focused on schools and bridges in Oregon is because the Mexico City had a 7.1 earthquake just within the last year.
Right.
And the biggest thing to hit was a school and it collapsed on those kids. And it's a 7.1. Okay, first thing you should do during an earthquake is you should drop, cover, and hold on. Drop down on your knees, your hands, your knees to prevent being knocked over. Because this is crazy, right? The earthquake's so crazy, it's gonna knock you off your feet. That's why you drop. Drop, cover your head and neck with your arms so you don't have anything fall on you. And if you can, crawl under a sturdy piece of furniture. Once again,
like a desk?
Yes, like a desk. This is what they taught us in school. You get under the desk.
I feel like I could do that.
Yeah. Stay clear of hazards. Avoid windows, fireplaces, and heavy furniture that could fall on you. If you're in the kitchen, move out as it is a dangerous place. So that kitchen, oh boy. If outside, move to an open area away from buildings, trees, streetlights, and utility wires.
Yeah.
If you're in a vehicle, stop in a safe place. Stay inside the vehicle and avoid stopping under overpasses or bridges. Once again, because we know that they're not earthquake safe, which is funny because if you're in a tornado, you're supposed to go to a bridge. Right? Isn't that the thing? But if it's an earthquake, don't go to the bridge. For more details, you can refer to U.S. Geological Survey and CDC guidelines.
What do you think is the highest magnitude ever recorded for an earthquake?
Doesn't the scale stop at like 10 or something like that?
Yeah. 1960, Chile experienced a magnitude of 9.5.
Yeah.
They had over $550 million in damage. Over 1,600 people died. Crazy. And it triggered a tsunami.
Yes.
Killed 61 people in Hawaii, 138 in Japan, and 32 in the Philippines. And this was in Chile.
In Chile, because of the ripple effects.
That is nuts.
I don't know why all of a sudden earthquakes are my biggest fear right now. Like it used to be murder hornets, but apparently
murder hornets.
But now,
mine's just rising prices in beer.
So here's some other notable earthquakes. This once again goes back to the Cascadia subduction zone. This is our neighborhood.
I swear, if we put this out there in like a month time, that happens.
I'm jinxing it. This is the craziest part, right?
Putting out in the universe.
Well, look, okay, so here's the deal. I'm going to tell you some of these big ones in the area.
The last podcast ever to like record about the earthquake.
Right.
And we just like 100 years from now, they like find this recording.
The Oregon Falls podcast.
They predicted it.
Yeah.
And then we go down as legend.
There we go. That's how we finally get into the.
That's right.
Because of our paranoia. These are big earthquakes that actually happened in the area. So 40 years ago, there's a 6.5 off Bandon. There's 76 years ago, there's a 6.5 off Brookings. 57 years ago, there's a 6.4 off Bandon. 34 years ago, and there's 7.1 off of Brookings. And 34 years ago, there's a 6.9 off Gold Beach.
Does it say what time of year? Like, does that matter what time of year?
No, they're all year.
Really it doesn't matter.
Famousfix.com, earthquakes in Oregon. So this is, I got like 4 here of famous earthquakes that happened in the state of Oregon. So we were just talking about the bridge from, the Columbia River Bridge going from Oregon to Washington. So get this, in 1936, it was called the State Line Earthquake, or also referred to the 1936 Milton Freewater Earthquake. It struck at 11:08 Pacific time on July 15th. The earthquake had an estimated magnitude of only 5.8. The epicenter, but here's the deal, is because the other ones I'm telling you were off the coast, so you don't really feel them as much. But when they're on land, this one was a magnitude 5.8, so it was considered very strong. It was felt throughout the Pacific Northwest, including as far away as Booner's Ferry, Idaho, near the Canadian border, and by seismographs as far away as San Diego.
That's crazy.
The 1993 Klamath Falls earthquake took place on Monday, September 20th at 8:28 p.m. The earthquake registered magnitude, there was two. Have a 6.0 and a 5.9.
You know what would be the worst, though?
What's that?
Is going to the bathroom when an earthquake happens.
Oh.
Or in the shower, like anything bathroom related, maybe even brushing your teeth.
Right.
Like all of a sudden, an earthquake hits. Like it's just, now what do I do? I finish up? Do I finish brushing do I finish doing my business?
How stoned are you? There's so many things, right? You know?
I mean,
that'd be the worst thing.
And how do you explain that to an insurance company if you get injured? Like, hey, how come you didn't get in a doorway fast enough?
Like, look,
I was in the bathroom.
Yeah, I was in the bathroom.
I was doing things.
Yes. Yeah. Is that considered an act of God? There's from the 1983 Klamath Falls earthquakes, they felt tremors and aftershocks for up to 3 months after the two big ones.
3 months?
3 months for aftershocks.
Like steady, or is it like once every?
They start to die down in size, but they felt them for a while.
That is wild.
There was the 1993 Scotts Mills earthquake, also known as the Spring Break quake. It occurred in March 25th.
It's also what happens at Daytona Beach, Florida. Spring break quakes. Sorry.
This was March 25th at 5:34 a.m. 1993, 5.6 earthquake. It was the largest earthquake in the Pacific Northwest since the Elk Lake and the Goat Rocks earthquake in 1981. The ground motion was widely felt in Oregon's Willamette Valley, the Portland metropolitan area, and as far north as Puget Sound area near Seattle, Washington.
Jeez.
And of course, the one we talked about, the January 1700 megathrust earthquake that affected the North American Pacific Northwest coast. It's crazy. They still argue that there's the range of it. The estimated movement was 8.7 to 9.2 when that one hit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that one was crazy. The plates they realized slipped an average of 20 meters, 66 feet along the fault rupture, for up to 620 miles. So that's the whole Oregon coast.
Now I want to not be controversial, but I wonder how much truly does the change in ocean's waters affect earthquakes?
Like, absolutely. There's got to be some
climate change matter. Does it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does it? If the ocean gets warmer, does that affect how
it would make sense? Wouldn't it?
Like, I don't know.
Total sense, right? That's things we don't know, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a great question. I mean, here's the deal. Like, then we used to be Pangea. We used to have just one big island. We were on this planet. All of a sudden, that broke off into all these things. All because of the tectonic plates and stuff.
Right.
Okay. So now it scared you enough. And I want to give. This is from one of my favorite companies, AARP. This is what emergency preparedness. So this is how you should prepare for an earthquake. So I love this is from the angle that we're old men, because we are.
Yes.
So you want to make sure you have a minimum 3-day supply of medications, along with a cooler and ice packs for your medications that require
3 days.
3 days.
That doesn't seem like a lot, right?
This is the minimum. This is a minimum
like
3
zombie
days.
Apocalypse.
Well, yeah, but there's things. Well, see, that's the thing. Or you don't know. You don't know how bad the earthquake could be. You know what I mean? But in 3 days, can you get back to your medication? The thing is, are you taking medication that you have to require to take it daily? You're right. I would almost do more than 3 days as well.
Right, like a week at least.
And the funny part is this gives recommendations for things that normally wouldn't think about. Contact lens solution, backup pair of glasses or hearing aids, extra batteries, identification badge with your full name and a list of any allergies, family member's contact number, information about your medical devices, including oxygen walkers and wheelchairs, documents in a waterproof bag that should include a personal care plan, medication lists, including the dosage, exact name, pharmacy information, and the prescribing doctor for each medication. Any list of allergies. They say you should have cash to be used if an automatic teller or credit card machines are not working. 1 gallon of water a day per person for at least 3 days.
Oh, man.
3-day supply of non-perishable food, battery powered hand crank radio. This is something I did buy.
You have a hand crank?
We ordered off Amazon. It's a radio It's also a flashlight, bright flashlight, and a radio, but you hand crank it to power it up. But when you hand crank it, you can listen to the radio because that way it's not battery or doesn't need
emergency broadcast.
Yes.
Stuff. Yeah.
They say a flashlight, of course, the active battery, cell phone with chargers and backup battery, a whistle to signal for help, manual can opener for food. Because you think about it, we rely so much on electricity, but if you have all this canned food, but you can't open it because you're relying on so you have to have a manual can opener. They said the weirdest one, the one that got me, I was like, I didn't think about it, was local maps. You know how reliant we are on our phone to get anywhere and that kind of stuff? It's just local wild. Maps. Soap, hand sanitizer, pet food. Make sure you have some of your pet food on hand. If you sleeping bag or warm blankets, tents, matches in a waterproof container. That was a big one. Feminine supplies, paper and pencil, plastic cups, papers.
Is Mad Libs on there?
It says books, games, puzzles, or other activities for children. Yeah.
Perfect.
There you go. So there you go, everyone. I just hope I just scared you into coming up with a little bit of a plan.
What would be the first thing that you would try to save if a disaster like that happened?
Like an earthquake?
Earthquake, tornado, something to where you feel like my home is in danger. What would be like the first thing you would kind of grab and go?
Would the default be, of course, family and pets, right? So family, pets would be on that. So if I got
how many dogs you have?
I got 3 dogs. Pets first, pets and family first, number one. But then what else beyond that?
Photos, social security cards,
right? The backup photos, because this is why this is so funny.
PS5.
I know, right? And what did I spend the most money on the house? Like the Dyson vacuum cleaner.
Those things are not.
They're not cheap.
They're not cheap.
Dyson vacuum cleaner probably be high up on the list.
That's up there,
right?
That'd be hard though.
That Mona Lisa, maybe the Dead Sea Scrolls I have. Gosh, it's a good question because it's like, what can you not replace? And I think photos is probably the best. Marriage certificate, but that can be replaced, right?
Yeah.
I do have one really nice shirt I would hate to lose.
Yep.
What would you go for?
Probably about the same. We have a I don't know what we call it, like an accordion file thing that has a bunch of important documents on it. I would probably just grab that thing and go. It has like birth certificates, social security cards, all that stuff.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Probably grab that, and the dogs will follow me out, and cat will figure her way out. And
yeah.
I hope I don't ever have to truly experience that.
That would be the worst, right?
Because I don't really know how level-headed I would be. It's not so much me being level-headed; it's everyone around me stressing me out.
Yeah.
If I was by myself, I could probably do it.
Yeah.
But it's everyone else like panicking that I feel like I would panic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing all those stories, and preparedness is important.
It's coming.
This kind of leads into a little bit of a Halloween episode that I'm hoping we'll cover. Not this topic, but Halloween. We usually have a good episode for our Halloween edition, but I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about children who claim to be having past lives and reincarnation. So this is kind of an article I found off Reader's Digest, which when I was a kid, Reader's Digest was such a popular item in my household.
Mine too.
It was like a weekly subscription thing. That and the TV Guide.
Yeah.
Boom. Reader's Digest, TV Guide.
TV
boom,
Guide.
Boom, boom, boom.
My family, we'd bookmark like
TV Guide was
TV Guide.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. Gosh, it's kids on these days don't know.
No, they don't appreciate the hand dialing of trying to find the TV channel.
I love that you mentioned Reader's Digest. I mentioned AARP.
We
are that old.
Oh my God.
We're worried about earthquakes. Yeah.
I don't even know how to bring that back to pop culture.
Anyway,
so there was a gentleman, his name was Jim Tucker. So author and child psychiatrist Jim Tucker has spent decades studying reincarnation as well as studying children who say they had lived before. So Reader's Digest, they spoke to him and other experts in psychology and religious studies to learn more about reincarnation and evidence and beliefs around it. This first story is quoted, "I came out of the portal."
Yes.
When I was your age, this is what the kid said.
Okay.
This is a quote. "When I was your age, I changed your diaper," said the dark-haired boy to his father. Ron looked down at his son smiling, who had not yet turned the age 2.
Wild.
He thought it was a very strange thing for his son to say, but he figured he had misheard him. But as baby Sam made similar remarks over the next few months, Ron and his wife, Kathy, gradually pieced together an odd story. Sam believed that he was his deceased grandfather. Ron's late father, who had returned to his family. More intrigued than alarmed, which I would probably be more alarmed than intrigued, but Ron and Kathy asked Sam, "How did you come back?"
Yeah.
I love that that's the first question. How did you come back?
Play into it. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Test this kid.
He said, I just went whoosh and I came out of the portal, he responded. Although Sam was a precocious child, he began speaking in full sentences from the age of 18 months. His parents were stunned to hear him use a word like portal, and they encouraged him to say more. They asked Sam if he had any siblings, and he replied that he had a sister who turned into a fish. Who turned her into a fish? Some bad guys. She died, he quoted.
Wild.
Eerily enough, Sam's grandfather had a sister who was murdered 60 years earlier.
What?
Her body was found floating in San Francisco Bay.
What?
Ron and Kathy then gently asked Sam, "Do you know how you died?" Sam jerked back, slapped the top of his head as in pain. A year before Sam was born, his grandfather died of a cerebral hemorrhage.
How did the kid know that? You know what I mean? That's that's
we'll
wild.
get to that here.
Oh, boy.
So is reincarnation real? 33% of Americans believe it, 10% of them being able to recall some of their past lives. There's been a bunch of TV episodes on surviving death, life and death, and reincarnation, ghosts inside my child. What is that? Where hypnotherapists guided people through life regressions that led them toward astonishing revelations. Part of the appeal of reincarnation stories have to do with this hopeful underlying promise that we can do better in our next lives. With reincarnation, there's always another opportunity. Yet, despite popular interest, few scientists give reincarnation much credence. They regard it as a field filled with charlatans, scams, and tall tales of having once been royalty. Reincarnation is an intriguing psychological phenomenon, says Christopher French, a professor of psychology at Goldsmiths University of London, who heads a unit that studies claims of paranormal experiences. But I think it is far more likely that such apparent memories are, in fact, false memories rather than accurate memories of events that were experienced in a past life. So, for more than 45 years, a team at a division of perpetual studies at the University of Virginia have been collecting stories of people who recall their past lives. And if the professor determined that there is some merit to these memories, their findings will call into question the idea that our humanity ends with our death.
Okay.
So this goes on to this gentleman who wrote this book. One of the most amazing, wonderful discoveries about reincarnation is finding the large numbers of famous intellectuals and writers in the Western world who have expressed a belief of reincarnations in their writings. States Anna Jaffin, writing for Edgar Case's Associate for Research and Enlightenment. These include such fine minds as Thomas Edison. The only survival I can conceive is to start a new Earth cycle. Let's see here. Henry Ford once said, "Work is futile. If we cannot utilize the experience we collect in one life and the next, when I discovered reincarnation, it was as if I found a universal plan. Time was no longer limited. The discovery of reincarnation put my mind at ease."
Okay.
So next one is titled, "Mommy, I'm So Homesick." Among the UVA case studies is a story of an Oklahoma boy named Ryan. A few years ago, the 4-year-old woke up screaming at 2 a.m. Over the preceding months, he had been pleading with his bewildered mother, Cindy, to take him to the house where he lived before. In tears, he'd beg her to return him to his glittering life in Hollywood.
Wild.
Complete with a big house, pool, and fast cars. "That was so fabulous," he once said. "I can't live in these conditions. My last home was much better."
That's wild.
Spoiled little kid.
Right?
When Cindy went to her son's room that night, Ryan kept repeating the same words, "Mommy, I'm so homesick." As she tried to comfort him and rock him to sleep, he was like a little old man who couldn't remember all the details of his life. He was so frustrated and sad, Cindy said. The next morning, she went to the library, borrowed a pile of books about old Hollywood, and brought them home. With Ryan in her lap, Cindy went through the volumes. She was hoping that the pictures might soothe him. Instead, he became more and more excited as they looked at one particular book. When they came to a still image of a scene from a 1932 movie called Night After Night, he stopped her. Mama, he shouted, pointing to one of the actors who wasn't identified. That guy's me. The
What?
old me. Now, what do you
What?
do in a
The
situation like that?
old me?
Like, what do you do when you're a kid? There's a part where, kids kind of fantasize about
Yeah.
things. They make stuff up. They want a little bit of attention. You know what I mean? But when
But
kids
nothing
are like,
that deep, right? Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
and not being able to sleep and like saying stuff over and over again about this house isn't, I don't know. I don't know. Cindy, the mom, says, I was shocked. I never thought that we find the person he thought he was, but she was equally relieved. Ryan had talked about his other life and been so unhappy, and now he had something to go on. Although neither Cindy nor her husband believed in reincarnation, she went back to the library the next day and checked out a book about children who possess memories of their past lives. At the end of it was a note from an author, Jim Tucker, saying that he wanted to hear from the parents of kids with similar stories. Cindy sat down and wrote him a letter. So Tucker was a child psychiatrist in a private practice when he heard about the reincarnation research being conducted by Ian Stevenson. He was the founder and director of the Division of Perpetual Studies at the University of Virginia. He was intrigued and began working with the division in 1996. 6 years later, Dr. Stevenson retired and Dr. Tucker took over his work. So Dr. Tucker was basically his protege.
Okay.
After Ian Stevenson retired. That's a tough one. So the University of Virginia team had gathered more than 2,500 documented cases of children from all over the world who had detailed memories of former lives, including that of a California toddler with a surprising good golf swing, who said he had once been the legendary athlete Bobby Jones, who they made a movie about.
Yes, yep.
Another is a Midwestern 5-year-old who shared some of the same memories and physical traits: blindness in his left eye, a mark on his neck, a limp as a long-deceased brother.
What?
A girl in India who woke up one day began speaking fluently in a dialect she never heard before.
What?
Dr. Tucker describes these cases in his book, Return to Life: Extraordinary Cases of Children Who Remember Their Past Lives.
That's amazing.
The children in the UVA collection typically began talking about their previous lives when they were 2 or 3 years old and stopped by the age 6 or 7. That is around the same time that we all lose our memories of early childhood, Dr. Tucker says.
That's crazy.
When he first learns about a subject, he checks for fraud, deliberate or unconscious, by asking 2 questions. Do the parents seem credible? And could the child have picked up memories through TV, overheard conversations, or other ordinary means? If he can rule out fraud, he and his team interview the child and his or her family to get a detailed account about the previous life. Then the researchers try to find a deceased person whose life matches the memories. This last part is essential because otherwise the child's story would just be a fantasy.
That's crazy.
It goes on to say, close to 3/4 of the cases investigated by the team were solved, meaning that a person from the past matching the child's memories is identified. In addition, nearly 20% of the kids in the UVA cases have naturally occurring marks or impairments that match scars and injuries on the past person, which is wild.
That is crazy.
20%.
That's a crazy number, honestly.
Right? One boy who recalled being shot possessed 2 birthmarks, a large, ragged one over his left eye and a small, round one on the back of his head that lined up like a bullet's entrance and an exit wound.
Right.
What the heck?
The odds.
That's crazy. So we go back to the case of Ryan, the boy who was longing for a Hollywood past.
Yeah.
An archivist pored over books in a film library until she found the person who appeared to be the man he singled out. Hollywood agent Marty Martin, who made an unbilled cameo in the movie Night After Night. After Cindy spoke with Dr. Tucker, he interviewed Ryan, and then the family contacted Martin's daughter. She met with Dr. Tucker, Ryan, and Cindy along with public records. She confirmed more than 50 details that Ryan had reported about her father's life. From his work history to the location and contents of his home. Cindy felt tremendous relief when she was told that her son's story matched Martin's. She said he wasn't crazy, there really was another family. But then as that kid gets older,
He doesn't have the memories.
do you remind him of that though? Like, hey, remember when you were 4
Yeah.
or 5 years old and you thought you were an old man in the movies from the 1930s?
The kid's like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, I don't
Right?
care,
Yeah.
man. Make me a sandwich. All right. The next one is, it says, the boy who fulfilled his past life's destiny. Born in Seattle in 1991, Sonam Wangdu was only 2 years old when he realized he was actually the fourth reincarnation of the original Tibetan Lama. I will not try to pronounce that because I would just end up murdering it. The realization was the culmination of a number of signs that had been accumulated since before the boy was even born. These included the visions of his mother and her own Lama. I have questions. As well as the words of the third reincarnation of Desung himself, who informed his acolytes in 1987, the year of his death, I will be reborn in Seattle. So the
Okay.
person that he became reincarnated supposedly said he'll be reincarnated in Seattle. I will be reborn in Seattle.
Huh.
In 1996, the boy, who by then only answers to the name Trok Lu La, which means reincarnation, left his family forever to be raised by monks while studying Tibetan Buddhism in Kathmandu, Nepal, and eventually becoming the head of a monastery there. Arriving in Nepal dressed in gold and maroon robes and riding on a luggage cart pushed by his mother. Now that's an entrance.
Wow.
Showing up in some gold and maroon robes,
Right.
being pushed by a mother on a luggage cart. The little Lama smiled widely, report said. When asked how long he would stay in Nepal, the little boy was serene, almost stoic. He said, lots of time. He said, I'm just going to stay here a long time.
Wow.
I mean, what if they said you got like a month?
Right? Yeah.
And that was proven to be true. The boy continues to live his life as the fourth reincarnation of Desung Rinpoche. It's Dezhung, last name Rinpoche. And then I think it's the first. Boy, us and names, I tell you that much.
I had to skip a couple today already.
Okay, we'll go on to a little easier one here. This one is quoted, "Plane on Fire."
Okay.
It was TV producers who taught Dr. Tucker about the best-known recent reincarnation case study. In 2002, he was contacted to work for and appear on a show about reincarnation. Apparently, the program never aired. And was told about James Leiginger, a 4-year-old Louisiana boy who believed he was a World War II pilot who had been shot down over Iwo Jima.
Wow. Okay.
Bruce and Andrea first realized that James had these memories when he was 2 years old and woke up from the nightmare yelling, "Airplane crash, plane on fire."
What?
The little man can't get out. That gives me goosebumps. The little man can't get out, plane on fire, airplane crash. He also knew details about World War II aircraft that would seem impossible for a toddler to know. For instance, when Andrea, his mother, referred to an object on the bottom of a toy plane as a bomb, James corrected her by saying it was a drop tank.
Wow. Wow.
Another time, he and his parents were watching a History Channel documentary, and the narrator called the Japanese plane a Zero. James insisted that it was a Tony. In both cases, he was right.
Love it.
The boy said that he had also been named James in a previous life, that he'd flown off a ship called the Natoma.
Okay.
The Leigingers discovered a World War II aircraft carrier called the USS Natoma Bay. In its squadron was a pilot named James Houston, who had been killed in action over the Pacific. I get goosebumps. James talked, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the parents, it's not like the parents are walking around the house saying these facts, right? You know what I mean?
That's 2 years old.
Yeah, 2 years old.
And a lot of this is before smartphones, before tablets, before, I mean, the internet was around, but what 2-year-olds getting on and like Yahoo Googling or whatever it was in 2002.
And this detailed stuff wasn't in like an encyclopedia or something.
Or like a daycare. What daycare is talking about? Like, hey, did you know what the real bottom of a bomber's called?
You know, everyone was on the USS Natoma.
Right. I mean, James talked incessantly about his plane crash, and he had disturbed nightmares a few times a week. His desperate mother contacted past life therapist Carol Bowman. No relation.
Whoa.
Bowman told Andrea not to dismiss what James was saying, to assure him that whatever happened and occurred to him in another life in his body, he was safe now. Andrea followed her advice, and James' dreams diminished. His parents co-authored a book called Soul Survivor about their family's story.
Wild.
Interesting. French, who is familiar with Dr. Tucker's work, says the main problem with investigating that the research typically begins long after the child has been accepted as a genuine reincarnation by his or her family and friends. About James, although his parents insisted that they never watch World War II documentaries to talk about military history, we do know that at 18 months of age, James was taken to a flight museum. Plot thickens.
Yeah.
Where he was fascinated by the World War II planes. In all probability, the additional details were unintentionally implanted by his parents and by a counselor who was a firm believer in reincarnation. Interesting. Interesting. At 18 months, are you really retaining that much?
I know, right? Yeah.
I mean, I guess kids are kind of sponges. That is hard.
That's wild.
Dr. Tucker says they had additional documentation for many of the James' statements, and that they were made before anyone in the family had heard of James or the USS Natoma Bay. Bruce, James's father, understood French's disbelief. He said, I quote, "I was the original skeptic," he said, "but the information James gave us was so striking and unusual.
Yeah.
If someone wants to look at the facts and challenge them, they're welcome to examine everything." Bruce laughed at the idea that him and his wife planted the memories. You're trying to tell me a 2-year-old what to believe. You're not going to be able to give them a script.
There's no point. You're not trying to get fame or something out of it? Yeah.
Let's see. The next one is Vladimir Levinsky, who was born David Sacombe in England in the 1930s, had such an innate gift for playing the piano that he was able to teach himself to be a concert pianist. When asked about lessons, he remarked, "I have no time for them. I have a technique of my own." So gifted was Levinsky, and at such a young age, that he became to recognize himself as the reincarnation of Franz Liszt, the German composer and pianist. By age 21, Levinsky was performing for packed concert halls and was known as the Papagini of piano. Unfortunately, Levinsky's interest in Liszt at times came to a border on obsession, such as when he was playing at a concert in January 23rd, 1952, and stopped playing halfway through to talk about Liszt. The audience was disappointed, but Levinsky, for his part, felt the concert was a tremendous success. In part because he experienced as the only reincarnation of the composer, which is just that's kind of a weird one.
That's so bizarre, actually.
Or hit a baseball and be like, "I'm the reincarnation of Babe Ruth."
Yeah, exactly.
That one's a little strange.
Oh, man.
The ending here, Dr. Tucker knows that for most scientists, reincarnation stories will always seem like a fantastical notion, regardless of how much evidence is presented. For him, success doesn't mean persuading the naysayers to accept the existence of reincarnation, but rather encouraging people to consider the meaning of consciousness and how it might survive our deaths.
Okay.
Which is interesting because I've always heard the greater conscious. We're all connected with the greater consciousness. I believe in the possibility of reincarnation, which is different from saying that I believe in reincarnation, he explains. I do think these cases require an explanation that is out of our ordinary, although that certainly doesn't mean we all reincarnate. Does Dr. Tucker believe that in the future there will be a child who is able to recall Dr. Tucker's own memories? Memories of the past lives are not very common, so I don't expect that, he says, but I do hope there's some continuation after death for me and for all of us. So, a lot to think about, and it's a ton of information, but
that's so wild.
It's on Reader's Digest. There's an article called Chilling Reincarnation Stories, and it was written by Lauren Kahn.
In fact, you had Bowman and Kahn in the same article.
Hey,
that's wild.
Yeah. So anyway, I know that's a lot of info and a lot of me talking, but I thought that was kind of interesting.
So what do you think, though, after reading something like that?
It's so hard to argue with the kids who are so convincing.
Yeah.
That's the part. I don't believe that everyone gets reincarnated, but I bet there's a possibility that our consciousness, maybe carries on to another future life. I mean,
yeah,
I think, who the heck is to know what happens after we die?
Yeah.
There's only one way we're going to find out.
That's just it, right? And
it could be nothing. It could be something. It could be something in between. Now, I don't know if you care to share, but didn't Tressa years ago, she got hypnotized?
yeah, she went into hypnotism to find out about her past lives. And that was some wild stuff. So one of her past lives was she was a Native American boy who a young man who went off on his like trial to go off like because like you had to go like be in the forest for like a week or something like that by yourself and come back. And he was in a he had fallen in a river and like broke his ankle or his foot and had to crawl into a cave and died in the cave.
Oh, jeez.
And that was one of her past lives, yeah.
But okay, I mean, interesting. And she was
hypnotized. She was in complete hypnosis.
Yeah.
She has no memory of it.
So when she woke up or whatever, when she
yeah, we didn't know until we watched the video.
Oh, they videoed it,
Yeah.
and then you watched the back.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's creepy.
That tripped you out because the funny part was she didn't know she was hypnotized. You would ask her, she goes, "I wasn't hypnotized."
Oh,
She
she
goes-
doesn't think
goes-
she was hypnotized?
No, she
Were
goes-
her eyes open or closed?
She was closed. They were closed. That kind of stuff.
She was like
And-
just staring off to the abyss.
Yeah, no, but that's the weirdest part. She just kind of felt a little more tired. And because I remember because I waited for her. I was waiting in the car outside because they don't want like a lot of people around. So I waited for her in this neighborhood for like an hour and a half. And finally, when she came out, she just like, I'm just a little tired and groggy. She goes, that was a waste of time. Like, I don't, nothing
I had
happened.
no idea.
Yeah, no idea. And then she was reluctant to watch it. And then so it took us like some time to watch it. And she watched it and told me it was in it. And we watched it. I was like, that is crazy.
I wonder if it's ever unsuccessful.
You would think,
Yeah.
right? If you're a new soul, things like that, because there's a whole thing too. Like, are you when they make the comments of being an old soul or a new soul, or like, what's your? Because there's like a whole thing, a theory of like souls they're trying to do something, they're trying to send a message. They keep coming back until they're able to do what they're supposed to do, their task. So I could see why. If there's a Native American guy who died young, like he goes, okay, I didn't get to complete what I was supposed to complete. I'm going to come back again.
Right.
And so that's why I think when you have like each one of these kind of have like a tragic death or tragic end.
Right.
And that's why I think like the young guy who dies in World War II, of course he's going to try and come back. You know, it's very.
What kind of questions did they ask her, like to get it out of her?
Just ask surroundings, that kind of stuff. And so it kind of comes naturally. It's kind of, that's the weird part too, because it wasn't like asking anything specific. Like, can you describe your surroundings?
Right.
I'm in a cave.
It wasn't like, like what is your past life? It wasn't like specific to that. It was just,
you just go there. It's really weird. And so it's just, like what was, where can you tell me where you're at right now? I was like, I'm in a cave. It's dark and damp. And then how'd you get in the cave? Well, I twisted my ankle in the river down below. What were you doing in the river? Like, oh, I was out. Like, you ask a question, it kind of goes backwards a little bit. It was crazy. It was wild. So,
but you didn't do it.
I would honestly do it. Yeah.
I would do it.
I would do it. Same thing. I would do that. I would do an ayahuasca trip, and I would do, I want to do all the fun, random things that you're just like, oh, wow. But I won't go on the Ferris wheel again. Not there.
Or a Small World at Disneyland.
Small Disneyland?
Doing that one.
Yeah, ain't doing those.
That one's scary. Okay. Yep. Thanks for sharing that.
Love it.
Moving on to something totally different, more random. I heard on the radio, I think it was the radio. Don't remember where I heard this, but this year, the finalists for the Toy Museum.
Yes.
The National Toy Hall of Fame. And these are the finalists. Okay. You're gonna like some of these. Wait, hold on. Can you maybe throw out some of them? I'll tell you if they're on here.
Well, like Play-Doh. Like, I don't know for just this year's.
Yeah.
Like Play-Doh, Barbie, Monopoly, Transformers.
I'll give you a hint on one of them. It's a board game I think you like playing.
Monopoly?
No.
A board game I like playing.
I feel like it's a long one, like a strategy one. I've never played.
Stratego?
Catan.
Oh, Settlers of Catan. Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Catan?
Here's the deal. I've heard it both ways. Settlers of Catan, Settlers of Catan. Yeah, Catan I think is more common.
Did I just make that up? You like playing that one?
Oh, I've played it. I once watched an 8-hour video of guys playing the world champs.
I feel like, Battleship, Catan, whatever you want to say. This is surprising that's not in there yet. Connect 4. Okay, I feel like Connect 4 has been around a long time. Even Battleship. Now, I'm not going to go into...
Does it not have a good agent or something like that?
See, this is what... I'm not going to try to find this, but like, what are the... So like, in the Hall of Fame for like sports, you have to be... There's like a categories that you have to like fall into to be nominated. And like, do these toys get nominated year after year and they just don't make the cut and then they finally make it?
That's just it,
Are there people voting?
Questions.
Okay, next one is cornhole. Cornhole. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows what that is, right?
That's fair.
Furby. A Furby, which is really creepy. Those things are really creepy.
Those things are creepy.
The scooter. Okay, strange. Okay, some of these are...
These are just this year's nominees?
These are this year's.
Are these inductees or nominations?
Okay, it says the finalists.
Oh, the finalists. These guys aren't even making it. Can you imagine?
Not making it yet.
Can you imagine being the scooter? You've been around for probably 80 years, and every year.
Wait till these next two.
I love it.
Wait till these next. The next one is slime.
Oh, boy.
Okay, and this one I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Snow.
Just straight up snow, like a snowball?
Just precipitation of the ultimate vehicle for play. Packed into balls, it becomes mostly harmless. Projectiles that provide endless fun. It also supports slower constructive play. So I guess snowballs?
You can make the argument for a stick then at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that definitely has some controversy here.
You can't leave the snowball in the museum, though. Yeah, I love it.
The spirograph, which is a
great
toy.
Great toy. Great invention. Yes.
All right, what do you think about this next one? The Star Wars lightsaber.
Oh, well, that's just iconic.
Right?
Yeah.
1977. Next one is Tickle Me Elmo. How's that not in there yet? I don't know.
Love it.
Trivial Pursuit. Great game. I like me a little Trivia Pursuit.
Yeah.
So those are the finalists right there.
Okay.
I guess you actually can go visit. There's exhibits, there's a museum, that you can see all types of these. There's tons of collections. So
if the snowball doesn't get in, are you allowed to throw a snowball at the museum?
You know, we might have to follow up to see who actually made it into here.
I want to follow up on this one too.
Shoot over to 2 questions.
Okay.
The first one is, if you could travel to space, would you? And then part 2, who would you bring outside of your family? Celebrity? Would you bring just a...
Did Katy Perry get this question to you? Is that where this is coming from? She wants to go back.
It's funny.
Thank you. That was topical. I would not go to. Here's the funny part is,
you wouldn't go?
I would not. Here's the funny part is, I would not go now. Now, if we're like 100, 200 years in the future and we kind of got this down, I've watched so many sci-fi movies that I want my spaceship to be trustworthy. If I'm going to go to space, it's going to be probably for a little time.
Mm-hmm.
So I want something that's built solid, sturdy.
You don't think that's happening now?
No. We could barely.
No.
Look at this. We're still in the same.
Yeah.
So, but if I were to go, what celebrity would I take?
Would you go to the moon if you had the option, or the space station? If they're like, here, Mark, here's a free ticket to go to the moon, or whatever it's called, the International Space Station, ISS.
I wouldn't. Like I said, once again, I just the only reason I would go would be to see if the Earth is flat. It'd be so funny. Like, oh my gosh, they were right the whole time.
Oh my gosh,
they lied to us. No. How about you? Would you go?
I would probably go.
Okay, I respect that,
because then I would regret it probably the rest of my life. If they're like, here's a ticket to the moon or the space station, and we'll send you up there. The only thing I grapple with is, how hard is those G's going to be once I'm blasting off into space?
Right? Yeah.
It's the feeling of just how fast that is. I don't know. But don't you hit it to a certain speed and then you kind of get back to normal? Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's not the whole way there. Yeah, you
right?
just through the orbit or atmosphere.
You know who I would take with me?
Who would you take with you?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
It would have to be somebody smart, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because if we end up stranded or something crazy, I have Neil deGrasse Tyson with me, and he would just know exactly what to do.
How funny.
He would calm me down with his voice.
Yes, right.
And he would know exactly what to do.
I was gonna say Jack Black just because we'd have a good time. He might get annoying a little bit, but I think we'd make it work.
And the Toy Hall of Fame, I was thinking, I haven't looked at this any yet, but what's the pogo stick? I feel like the
pogo stick.
I feel like I had some good memories growing up with the pogo stick.
Yeah.
A, you can fight off a bully with it.
That makes sense.
B, it's a mode of transportation.
Yeah.
C, it's also fun.
I go Legos.
Legos got to be in there.
Legos got to be in there.
I'm sure
I saw Game Boys in there.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense.
I wonder if color Game Boy's in there.
Oh, there you go. Game Boy Color. Game Gear.
Cool. Okay, you want to finish this off with the...
We got a couple dad jokes to share here. 3 of these were submitted by a good friend of the podcast. Jake, if you're listening, these are coming from you. How do you fix a How do you fix a cracked pumpkin. A pumpkin that's been cracked.
I know the answer.
Yep. It's with a pumpkin patch. Yep. What kind of vest do you wear in the fall? A harvest. Harvest.
Good one.
And why did the tree giggle? And I love this one the most. It heard a corny joke.
I heard a corny joke.
The other jokes that I have for our listeners that I had to take a picture of because it was too good is, did you know Yoda had a last name?
No.
It was Lehihu. Yoda Lehihu. There you go, listeners. A good Star Wars joke always lands. Wow. It's a good episode, man. We covered a lot of stuff.
I learned a lot about earthquakes.
I learned a lot about past life regression.
Yeah, kind of crazy. So we'll probably do a Halloween episode here in the next few weeks. Hopefully, I'm sure we'll squeeze it in between now and Halloween. It's only the end of September. We'll definitely get an episode in here, and then try to have an interview lined up. And and I can't even believe it's already October.
It's almost Christmas at this point.
I can't even believe that.
The time is moving so rapidly.
It's unfair how fast everything's just going by.
I gotta get to bed before the lights are out. Matlock's gonna be on soon.
Matlock.
Just
Okay. Thank you all so much for just listening over the years so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the commenting on the YouTube channel and all the listening to me just blabber on for all these years, and Mark giving us the good facts and everything. Again, just check us out anywhere you get your podcast. Check out our website. Get yourself a hoodie.
Earthquake's coming.
Earthquake's coming.
Build your kit.
And we'll talk to you all next month.
Bye, guys.